What's good, dwellers?
Here's a quick question.
Ever dreamed of stepping into a world so immersive you forget reality? What about wielding a wand, battling dragons, or ruling your own kingdom? Well, today we're diving into the top 10 perfect 10 out of 10 open world games that you must play. This is actually part 2 of our journey. If you missed part 1, don't worry. There's a link in the description below to check it out. Let's get into it.
And hit that sub button if you haven't done it already. Thank you.
First up, we've got Hogwarts Legacy. Who hasn't dreamed of getting their Hogwarts letter? I mean, I still remember how excited I was as a kid, imagining what it would be like to be a wizard at Hogwarts. Honestly, the details are mind-blowing. Exploring the iconic Hogwarts castle, uncovering secrets in the Forbidden Forest. It's like the Harry Potter dream come true. And it's not just about attending classes, although that's dope too. You'll be brewing potions, learning spells, and taming magical beasts. And the combat? Way deeper than I expected. There's a real strategy in combining spells for some epic effects. Also, the game takes things up a notch with restricted spells, making your journey even more dark. Sure, there are a few downsides like some repetitive side quests, but trust me, the world they've built more than makes up for it. If you've ever wanted to lose yourself in Hogwarts, this is your ticket. Next up is Kingdom Come Deliverance, a game that's as much a history lesson as it is an RPG. Set in 15th century Bohemia, you play as Henry, a blacksmith's son who gets caught up in a brutal world of political intrigue, war, and revenge. What makes this game special is its realism. There's no magic here. Just you, your sword, and the raw reality of medieval life. Honestly, this is one of those games where I had to sit back and appreciate how much work went into making it feel real. The combat is insane. It's all about timing and precision, not just mindless button mashing. The first time I fought in the game, I felt like I was just flailing around, but over time it clicked. When I finally got the hang of it, it was one of the most rewarding combat systems I've ever experienced, and the world itself stunningly authentic. I've spent so many hours just wandering through forests and villages, soaking up the atmosphere. The sound design, the weather effects, and the way the NPCs interacted all felt alive. Kingdom Come isn't just a game, it's like stepping into a time machine. Mafia Definitive Edition and Mafia 2 are classics that pull you into the world of organized crime. In Mafia Definitive Edition, you play as Tommy Angelo, a cab driver turned mobster in the 1930s. It's a story of loyalty, betrayal, and ambition that could rival any gangster flick. The moment I jumped into Tommy's shoes and first entered the world of Salieri's family, I couldn't stop playing. The atmosphere is an absolute perfection, and the story grips you right from the start. Plus, the 1930s vibe is on point. From the cars to the music, it takes you right back to that era. Mafia 2 takes us to the post-World War II era with Vito Scaletta, a war vet trying to climb the underworld ladder. This game really hit me hard in terms of the storyline. Vito's journey from a small-time guy to someone with major connections feels so real, and the moral dilemmas he faces really make you think. Both games nail the atmosphere. Driving through Lost Heaven or Empire Bay feels like you're actually back in time. And those soundtracks. Absolute perfection. These games will have you hooked. I actually found myself driving around just to listen to the music and enjoy the world. Skyrim. This one needs no introduction, that's for sure. Released in 2011 and still going strong. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is the ultimate open-world RPG. You're the Dragonborn, the chosen one with the power to absorb dragon souls and send enemies flying with your shouts. I've lost count of how many times I've played through Skyrim, and I'm still finding new things to do in it. The world is massive. There's literally endless stuff to do. What makes Skyrim so addictive is the freedom it offers. Want to ignore the main quest and become a blacksmith? Go for it. Fancy picking flowers and making potions? No problem. Whether you're slaying dragons or joining the Thieves Guild, you can truly immerse yourself in Skyrim's world. I've spent so many hours just wandering the snowy peaks of Skyrim, getting lost in side quests and never feeling bored. And don't even get me started on the mods. If you really want to make the game your own, there's so much you can change. Every playthrough feels different, and even after all these years, I'm still finding new things to explore. Skyrim isn't just a game, it's a legend. Moving on to Stalker 2. The game was recently released by a well-known Ukrainian studio, GSC Game World, and man, they nailed it. Yes, there's a few bugs here and there. The game itself is not perfect yet, but let's be real. A lot of huge games have had the same problem at the start, and this one has a lot of potential. Stalker 2 drops you right into the irradiated wasteland of the Chornobyl exclusion zone. You're a stalker, basically a scavenger searching for rare artifacts while avoiding deadly anomalies and hostile factions. I gotta say, this game gave me the chills. The atmosphere here is like nothing I've ever experienced. It's dark, eerie, and downright intense. You never know what's around the corner, and that uncertainty keeps you on edge the entire time. What really stands out to me is the constant tension. You can't just rush in guns blazing. You need to plan every move carefully. The survival aspect of the game is spot on, and the AI reacts in ways that make every encounter feel real. With dynamic weather, day-night cycles, and a world that feels alive, every decision matters. If you're into survival horror with a dash of sci-fi, this is your game. If you're vibing with this list of open-world games so far, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more gaming content like this. It really helps me out and keeps you in the loop for future videos. Let me know in the comments if there's any game you think should have made this list. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, let's talk about Mount and Blade, Warband and its successor, Bannerlord. These games are all about building your legacy in a medieval sandbox. And if you love freedom in how you play, these games are perfect. Whether you want to be a mercenary, a traitor, a bandit, or a ruler, you can create your own path. Personally, I spent a lot of time as a mercenary hopping from one army to the next, building my reputation and getting a real sense of progress. There's something so satisfying about starting from the bottom and eventually earning your place in the world. The battles are massive, and leading your troops to victory feels incredible. I'll never forget the first time I led a siege, seeing my troops charge in and working with my archers and cavalry to break the enemy lines. The strategy involved in each battle makes every encounter unique. You have to think about positioning, timing, and how to balance your resources. Losing a battle is tough, but it always taught me something new, and the next victory felt even better. What I really appreciate is the depth of the game. You're not just fighting, you're managing your army, controlling territories, and navigating complex politics. I've spent hours overseeing my villages, training soldiers, and making decisions that affected the whole realm. The choices you make have long-lasting consequences, and that's what makes the game so immersive. Bannerlord takes everything Warband did well and improves it with better graphics, smoother mechanics, and deeper customization. If you've ever dreamed of conquering a kingdom, these games are a must-play. Now, Ghost of Tsushima. This game is an absolute masterpiece. Set during the Mongol invasion of Japan, you play as Jin Sakai, a samurai torn between tradition and survival. The world is breathtaking. Fields of gold, bamboo forests, and misty mountains, it all looks like it's been pulled straight out of a painting. When I first stepped into this world, I couldn't help but be in awe of how beautiful everything was. The attention to detail is incredible, and it made me feel like I was actually walking through Japan during the invasion. The combat is top tier too. You can go full samurai facing enemies head-on, or sneak around as the ghost striking from the shadows. Both approaches are equally satisfying. I'll never forget that moment when I went up against a Mongol leader with nothing but my katana and the full samurai armor. It felt so cinematic. And the story, it's powerful, emotional, and explores themes of honor and sacrifice. Ghost of Tsushima isn't just a game, it's an experience. Let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, it had a rough launch, but don't let that fool you. The game has come a long way, and now, it's incredible. Set in the neon-lit streets of Night City, you play as V, a mercenary navigating a world of high-tech and low-life. The city is like a living, breathing character with its towering skyscrapers and chaotic streets. Night City is so dense with stories and details that I find myself just wandering around picking up side jobs and seeing where the world takes me. There's always something to do. The freedom of choice in how you tackle missions is what really keeps me coming back. You can hack, shoot, or go full stealth. Each mission feels different based on your approach. The combat is just as engaging with fast-paced gunplay and satisfying gun mechanics. And the story, it just pulls you in, especially with unforgettable characters like Johnny Silverhand played by Keanu Reeves. It took me a little while to get into the flow of things, but once I did, the world felt dynamic and alive, like I was actually living in Night City. If you've been waiting for the right time, now's your chance. The game has come a long way, and I can't recommend it enough. Baldur's Gate 3 is RPG perfection. Set in the Dungeons & Dragons universe, you're thrown into a world of magic, monsters, and tough choices. You can create your own character or choose from a roster of companions, each with rich backstories and motivations. The first time I jumped into this game, I was completely hooked. I spent hours just exploring every dialogue option and getting to know my companions, which made me feel like I was part of their personal journey. I spent a ridiculous amount of time just chatting with them, learning about their past and how they viewed the world. It was that immersive. Every choice you make has weight, whether it's in dialogue, combat, or how you approach a situation. I've found myself in some tough spots, making decisions that drastically change the outcome of a quest or the fate of a character. The turn-based combat is like a high-stakes chess match, where every spell, every movement counts. There are so many ways to approach combat that it never feels the same, and each encounter feels like a puzzle to solve. The story is full of emotional moments and plot twists that caught me off guard, making each step forward feel even more rewarding. Baldur's Gate 3 is a dream come true for RPG fans, and if you haven't played it yet, you're seriously missing out. And last but certainly not least, we've got Batman: Arkham City. This game makes you feel like the Dark Knight in every sense. From the moment I stepped into the open world of Gotham, I felt immersed in Batman's universe. Facing off against iconic villains like the Joker was a dream come true. The combat system is so smooth and satisfying. Every punch, counter, and gadget feels impactful. but it's the atmosphere that really makes this game shine. Gliding through Gotham's night sky, solving Riddler's puzzles and uncovering dark secrets, it really makes you feel like you're living in Gotham. I spent hours just exploring the city, taking in the details of each district. The voice acting by Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill as Batman and the Joker? It's perfection. Every line feels like it's straight from the animated series. This game made me feel like I was Batman patrolling the streets and taking down criminals. If you're a superhero fan or just a fan of great games, this is an absolute must-play. And that's a wrap on part 2 of our top 10 open world games. Hopefully this list gave you some ideas for your next gaming adventure. If you've played any of these games or think there's one that should have made the list, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on future videos. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Bye, dwellers.